His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Attorney General, His Highness the Emir of Zonal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is a very welcome opportunity particularly in the north, where businesses are beginning to thrive, similar to what is going on in Lagos and other parts of the country. I pray that you use this opportunity to share the information and the technology required to make our young and upcoming business people understand the nature and the processes of producing accurate business proposals and also guidance in how they carry out their businesses. Once again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to attend this function and look forward to attending more of these sort of functions. Thank you very much and have beautiful deliberations today.
Okay, we'll call on the representative of the Governor of Kano State for brief remarks, the Leonard Silk, Abdulkarim Malde, to give a very short remarks. Welcome, sir. Please, a round of applause for the Attorney General representing the Governor of Kano State.
Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, ably represented by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly, ably represented by the Deputy Speaker, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zonal, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kagoro, ably represented by the one by of Kagoro, the Honorable the Chief Judge of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Honorable Justice Hajra Agwada, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, the Grand Cadi, other distinguished members of this gathering, may peace and blessing of God be with you. It is my honor and privilege to convey the goodwill message of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Engineer Alhaji Abakabir Yusuf, at this important gathering. He is unavoidably absent due to some certain reasons that made him not to be here. His Excellency extends his warm greetings to the leadership and members of Section of Business Law and commends your continued commitment to strengthening the legal framework that underpin commerce, investment, economic development, and economic development in Nigeria. These platforms are not timely, but also essential as they provide an avenue for critical reflection, knowledge sharing, and the advancement of legal practice in a rapidly evolving business environment. Kano State Government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, recognizes the pivotal role that sound business law plays in fostering investors' confidence, ensuring regulatory certainty, and promoting sustainable economic growth. As government, we remain committed to creating an enabling business environment where businesses can thrive, supported by transparent policies, efficient dispute resolution mechanism, and respect for the rule of law. We particularly appreciate the theme and focus on this program, which align with our broader vision of economic diversification, private sector development, and regional collaboration. We believe that outcome of your deliberation here in Kaduna will contribute meaningfully to policy formulation and legal reform that will benefit not only Kano, but Nigeria in general. His Excellency encouraged the participants to engage constructively, share innovative ideas, and build partnership that will strengthen our collective capacity to address the emerging challenges in business law and practice in Nigeria. On behalf of the government of Kano State, I wish this gathering a fruitful discussion. May God Almighty continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm about to call our royal father for the day. Our royal father is a wonderful man. You need to know him personally. In fact, in the area of ADR, over 2,000 cases for the past 2 years. This is a great man. I'm saying this because, yes, from Kano, they just spoke, from Kaduna State. His royal father, Dr. Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, CFR, LLD, the Emir of Zonal, our father. We'll call him now for his remarks. Please, can we welcome our royal father? A big round of applause.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani, ably represented by the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Kaduna State. The Governor of Kano State, also represented by the Attorney General of Kano State. The Chief Judge of Kaduna State, ably represented by Justice Guada. The Speaker of the day, former CG of Immigration, Babandede. The Grand Cadi of Kaduna State, seated here, and also the chair of the business law section, all the way from Lagos, members of the Nigerian Bar Association, senior advocates, and very senior lawyers. A very good morning to you all. It is a great honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I address this distinguished gathering at the Northern Zonal Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association on Business Law. I bring you warm greetings, from the Zazo Emirate under my leadership, and from the good people of Zaria and Kaduna State, a land renowned for its enduring legacy in commerce and governance and scholarship. Sorry, I missed out my colleague, His Highness, the Chief of Kagoro, that is ably represented by the King of Kagoro. I'm sorry about the omission. I commend the organizers for convening this timely conference and for focusing on the energy sector, an area that lies at the very heart of Nigeria's economic stability and future growth. Distinguished participants, the enactment of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 represents a watershed in Nigeria's legal and regulatory framework for the oil and gas industry. However, as with all legislation, its transformative potential lies in diligent and faithful implementation. Permit me to draw attention to specific provisions of the Act, which are particularly instructive. First, Section 4 of the Act establishes the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, while Section 29 establishes the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. These institutions are central to ensuring regulatory clarity, efficiency, and accountability. Their independence and effectiveness must be preserved through strict adherence to the rule of law. Second, Section 240 and 257 provide for the establishment of host community development trust. Notably, Section 240 mandates settlers to incorporate trust for the benefit of host communities, while Section 257 requires the allocation of 3% of operating expenditure for community development. These provisions, if properly implemented, have the capacity to reduce agitation, promote peace, and ensure that communities directly benefit from resource extraction. Third, Section 108 introduces a framework for gas utilization and domestic supply obligations. This is particularly significant for northern Nigeria, where gas to power initiatives can be expanded to improve electricity generation and industrial development. Fourth, the fiscal provision under Section 260 and following seek to create a competitive, transparent fiscal regime aimed at attracting investment while ensuring that Nigeria derives fair value from its resources. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, these provisions are not merely statutory text. They are instruments of national transformation. Yet, without proper enforcement, oversight, and legal vigilance, they risk remaining aspirations rather than realities. This is where the role of the legal profession becomes indispensable. You are called upon not only to interpret the law, but to ensure its effective application through advisory services, dispute resolution, policy engagement, and institutional accountability. Beyond hydrocarbons, Nigeria must also accelerate its transition towards renewable energy. While the Petroleum Industry Act lays a solid foundation from the oil and gas sector, complementary legal frameworks must be strengthened to support solar and other renewable energy initiatives, particularly in northern Nigeria, where the potential is immense. Distinguished participants, energy security is directly linked to economic prosperity and national stability. A well-regulated and efficiently managed energy sector will stimulate industrial growth, create employment, and improve the quality of life of our people. As a traditional ruler and as a traditional institution, the Zazzau Emirate remains committed to supporting law and progressive initiatives that promote sustainable development, social justice, and economic advancement. I therefore urge this conference to produce concrete and actionable recommendations that will strengthen the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act, enhance regulatory efficiency, and foster innovation across the energy sector. In conclusion, I commend your dedication and intellectual engagement. May your deliberation yield outcomes that will positively transform Nigerian energy landscape. Thank you, and God bless. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, our Royal Father. We are very grateful. Thank you, sir. Once again, we sincerely apologize to the representative of the Emir of Kagoro, Sarkin Dawaki Kagoro. Please, our profound apologies. And also recognize in our midst this morning the presence of the former Attorney General of Kaduna State, Chris Umar, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for coming. Oh, the former Solicitor General, sorry, sir, of Kaduna State, Chris Umar, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, in no particular order. And also the presence of Sir Tolani Oladipo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Welcome, sir. And so, we will be calling on the Attorney General of Kaduna State to act in dual capacity. The Attorney General will be giving his remarks, and it would also, since he's the representative of the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, it would also be giving the special opening address and the formal declaration of the conference open. We call on our Honorable Capacity Attorney General, Sir James Kaib. Please, a big round of applause for our Honorable Attorney General. Please, can we keep clapping till he gets to the podium?
The representative of the governor of Kano State, my learned Honorable Attorney General of Kano State, the Honorable Chief Judge of Kaduna State, ably represented by my elder sister and my lord, Justice Gwada, the representative of the Grand Kadi himself of Kaduna State Sharia Court of Appeal, His Royal Highness the Emir of Zazzau and Chairman of Kaduna State Council of Chiefs, the representative of the Chief of Grok, my brother, the Sarkin Dawakin Kaguru, Ibrahim Bonnet. So many faces and so many confusion for me to identify. The organizers of this very important conference, the learned senior advocates here present, can see the faces of Tolani and Chris Umar, the chairman of the respective bar branches of the Nigerian Bar Association. I can see that of Kaduna and Barnawa. Fellow participants of this conference, permit me to abridge protocol so that I don't make mistakes and for purposes of economy of time. I welcome you to Kaduna State. Good morning. It's my pleasure to stand here in a dual capacity role, one as representing His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani, CON, who is unavoidably absent because of more pressing official calls. I'm also here in my capacity as the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice of Kaduna State, and as special guest of honor to this very important conference. My speech was actually for myself, but when I was directed to represent His Excellency, I had to tweak it to adapt to the reality of my dual capacity role. His Excellency would have loved to be here because anything that has to do with law, he has his passion for it. Being a beneficiary of the legal system and a crusader of rule of law, he had to travel to attend to other pressing official engagements. So it is with great pleasure that I extend the warm compliments of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Obasani CON, to the organizers and participants of this important gathering convened by the Nigerian Bar Association Section on Business Law, NBA-SBL, the Northern Zone. Since its inception, the Nigerian Bar Association Section on Business Law has been at the forefront of promoting excellence in commercial law, delivering high-quality business law services to the public, fostering continuing legal education, and facilitating the exchange of knowledge among professionals. Its structure covers diverse sections such as banking and finance, energy and natural resources, intellectual property and technology, which are instrumental in shaping policy, organizing training sessions, and providing insights into their respective fields. The NBA-SBL is renowned for its flagship events, notably the annual Business Law Conference, which we are here for that purpose, and which attracts thousands of participants and features many sessions that address critical issues in business law in this age and era of rapid intelligence. It also hosts regular webinars, workshops, and masterclasses such as the Business Law bi-monthly series, industry-focused trainings, and stakeholders engagements, forums, and sessions to ensure its members and the general public remain abreast with industries and commercial developments. I commend the vision and industry that have sustained this conference as a credible forum for intellectual engagement and professional collaboration. The convergence of legal practitioners, policy makers, academics, and industry stakeholders at this conference is a testament to the growing recognition of the law as a critical driver of economic transformation. The theme of this year's conference, which is Law as a Catalyst for Economic Growth, is both timely and profoundly relevant. In an era characterized by rapid technological advancement, shifting global economic dynamics, and increasing regulatory sophistication, the legal profession occupies a pivotal position in shaping sustainable development trajectories. Law is no longer merely an instrument of order. It is a strategic enabler of investment, innovation, market confidence, and inclusive growth. Across jurisdictions, empirical evidence continues to affirm that economies thrive where there is legal certainty, regulatory clarity, and institutional accountability. Investors are more inclined to commit capital where contracts are enforceable, dispute resolution mechanisms are efficient, and governance structures are transparent. In this regard, the legal ecosystem serves not only as a safeguard, but also as an engine for economic productivity and competitiveness. Kaduna State, in aligning with national economic priorities, remains steadfast in its commitment to legal, institutional reforms and policies that enhance the ease of doing business and promote sustainable development. Through ongoing reforms in commercial dispute resolution, digitalization of justice delivery, land administration, and public-private partnership frameworks, the state is deliberately positioning itself as an investment-friendly destination and hub. These initiatives are anchored on the understanding that a responsive and efficient legal system is indispensable to economic growth and social stability. As legal professionals, there is an imperative to anticipate change, craft forward-looking regulatory frameworks, and ensure that the law keeps pace with evolving economic realities without stifling innovations. This conference, therefore, presents a critical platform for reflection, knowledge exchange, and policy-oriented dialogue. I am confident that the sessions will interrogate pressing issues such as regulatory reform, access to justice, investment promotion and protection, arbitration and alternative dispute resolution, and the role of legal practitioners in facilitating cross-border trade and regional integration within frameworks such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. I particularly urge participants to leverage this opportunity to propose practical, implementable solutions that can strengthen the synergy between law and economic policy. The outcomes of this deliberation should not remain within these conference halls, but should translate into policy recommendations, legislative reforms, and professional best practices.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Attorney General representing the Governor of Kaduna State. We will continue in our program by inviting the CPC chairperson, and Dr. Fatima to come and hand over the plaques to our guests. Can I have Dr. Fatima Datijo? Can we have the SBL chair and also the SBL chair and also the zonal chair, please? A round of applause for them. DJ, can we have some light music?
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. While we were having the speeches going on, we have come into our midst Mr. Audu Makuri, Chairman, Chocolate City. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. We truly appreciate your presence here and for taking out your time to be with us. We'll run through a couple of items very quickly to enable us immediately get into the sessions. We understand that our time is spent, but you can be sure that every moment you spend here will count truly. But very quickly, we'd like to appreciate some of our distinguished guests here. And for our royal fathers, we will not have you come up again. We did that, but we will not have that repeat itself. So we'll have the appreciation items handed to our royal fathers while they are seated. And to take the first And of course, we'll have our royal father of the day. We'll have the Nigerian Bar Association section on business law present the first appreciation plaque to our very distinguished, exceptional royal father of the day. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness, for taking our time to come in this morning. Thank you very much. We'd also have the next one. We also have an appreciation plaque for the Chief of Kagoro. A round of applause, please. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate your time and your investment in the Nigerian Bar Association section on business law. And just in case if you're wondering, this is just the Northern Zonal Conference. We'll still have the section conference happening in Abuja in June. So stay tuned, keep your eyes glued to your phones and our social media pages. Also, we will have the appreciation plaque to be given to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani. DJ, so let's do this together. Let's have light music in the background. Very light and soft music. Giving us the keynote speech. So first we'll have the first keynote speech to be given by the former Controller General of Immigration, Alhaji Babande. A round of applause for him, please. You'll agree with me that a man that has attained the apex of his career, who else but him to give us his keynote speech? A round of applause for him again, please. All right, thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I will take what I will call an abridged version of the profile of our keynote speaker. Mohammed Babande, OFR, is a distinguished public administrator, immigration reformer, and humanitarian. Our keynote speaker was born in November 1963 in Malam Maduri, Jigawa State of Nigeria. Is a highly respected public administrator whose illustrious career in Nigeria Immigration Service has left a lasting impact on national security, migration governance, and law enforcement. He is recognized for his reform-driven leadership. He has played a pivotal role in shaping immigration policies, combating human trafficking, and modernizing border security infrastructure. Beyond his contribution to governance, Babande is also a passionate humanitarian. He's the founder of Sure For You, a non-governmental organization dedicated to supporting vulnerable populations and promoting social solidarity. Through the Sure For You, he continues to advocate for human dignity, empowerment, and migration awareness. He's a media Mongol who established a radio and television station in Kano called Muasa TVR, and his academic journey is as distinguished as his professional career. What I have here spans over 3 pages, but I will come to the conclusion very quickly because I'm sure, just like myself, we're eager to listen to the keynote speech. He is the chairman of Peace Building Development Consult, is the deputy chairman of Bayero University Trust Fund, is a board member of many companies. In recognition of his distinguished service, he has received several prestigious honors, including Member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2014, Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic in 2022, and the Knight of the Spanish Kingdom in 2021. So, we're going to do something all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, a royal father, you're going to join me with a very warm applause to welcome our very distinguished keynote speaker. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I can use this? Yes. Thank you very much. Usually, I don't want to hear a story about myself. I want to see what I can do in the future, because what you have done is gone. You know, what is important is what we can do now and in the future. Anyway, thank you for the citation. Let me keep to the protocol and recognize the executive governors of Kaduna State and Kano, respectively. My own royal father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau. I didn't want to make a comment so that the Attorney General of Kano doesn't allow me to go back to Kano. Even though I'm from Hadejia, but I'm based in Kano. My station is also in Kano. But I know one thing about His Royal Highness. Even when he was an ambassador and I was the head of immigration, he keeps to time and he keeps to his words very well. And that is very good for business. That's very good for development. That's good for leadership. Because I'm a chairman of Peace Building Development Consult, building leadership. One of the good qualities of leadership is setting example. You want to be a leader? Set good example. What we read, what we see, and the movement we see from leaders are greater than greater talks. Okay, so thank you, Your Royal Highness, for being here. My Lord, spiritual and temporal, one has to be very, very careful when you speak to the judges around. Not many times you have opportunity to talk to them, they talk to you. And when you talk to them, you are trying to defend yourself. So it's a good opportunity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Nigerian Bar Association, to speak today. Why do they choose me? I was asking, why do you want me to speak? And I realized that I have served as a chief executive for a good 5 years. And I'm also a member of the PEBEC, Presidential Business Enabling Council. And also after retiring, you know, you keep trying what to do, business. And I really saw how public servant, could be including myself before, makes business very difficult. They make business very difficult. Regulations become confusion. A lot of tax collectors. So when I'm asked to speak about law as catalyst for economic growth, and that it is the lawyers themselves inviting the bar and the bench together to think on how to make business better, I had no alternative than to start moving to Kaduna. For me, it's an opportunity because what I'm sharing with you is not law. It's not how to draft law. It's to change law. No. I'm sharing with you life experience and my views on how you, especially the bar and the bench, can contribute to economic growth, especially in northern Nigeria. Allow me if I concentrate on the north, because it is in the interest of the south for the north to grow. I always argue that if you allow north to go down, it is Nigeria that will go down. If you help north to grow to be at level, the speed limit for Nigeria will be higher. I could remember when I was a young officer, like 40 years or more ago, when I first came to Abuja, there was no Hamatan in Abuja. So nobody worries in the south. No problem. Hamatan is a problem of Kano. But few years ago, Hamatan stopped an aircraft from landing in Lagos. You can see that environment, economics affect everybody. If you don't solve it, the poverty, the economic challenges facing the north, it will affect every part of the country. If you help, we grow together, Nigeria will be better. So today, don't expect a lecture from a professor. Don't expect a lecture from a lawyer. Expect a lecture from the one who is looking at you. Please note that when we are talking about law, especially ordinary Nigerian, what they see are people who are abnormally dressed, with the wigs, and even the dress black. So I tried to come with something like black today. I called my friend. I have a Fulani man who works in my farm before coming, because I want to know what they feel about law. I asked him, I said, what is law? He said, what are you talking about? Are you talking about lawyer? In Hausa, he said, are you talking about lawyer? I said, okay, I'm talking about lawyer. Those people, what will concern me with them is only when I make trouble or somebody wants me to be in trouble that I see them. That is the understanding of law by the ordinary persons. Unfortunately, it is so. But we need today, as a keynote speaker, I need to raise a foundation that there is a linkage between the law and business. The law itself regulates business. But it is important to note that the rule of law is business enabler itself. Are you with me? When we have a law, we say, look, when you do transaction, do this, do this. But if you don't do it in a way that business will strive, it is the law that will kill the business. So it's not only the law that matters, but that law must be a business enabler so that it makes things easy, so that things can progress for us. Investors, both local and foreign, invest only in places where there is rule of law. You will agree with me. No economy will grow where there is no predictable and enforceable legal system. Nobody. If you ask somebody to go to Sambisa and establish a farm, he will just laugh at you. I say, why? When will I even try that? You know, they will not. So there is linkage between the law and business. Where there is law and order, there is business. And wherever you see business strive, there is law and order. They're twin brothers living together. Northern Nigeria is presently at a crossroad. Out of the 19 states, only Kano and Jigawa looks peaceful. Boko Haram terrorist group still threaten the northeast. Banditry and kidnapping still strive in northwest and north central. The US government recently raised security level at a very high level concerning northern Nigeria. Even the security level raised is a threat to business. I hope you know that. To say that we are removing our staff because of this will stop an investor who has begun to discuss with a businessman. It is happening. It must have happened. Probably a Nigerian businessman is in Singapore talking about a business. Then the news comes in that US embassy is withdrawing its essential staff. That businessman will slow down because he cannot put his money or her money where threat is real. In Nigeria, we are very good in lawmaking, isn't it? We make good laws. The trouble is always in enforcement. We are like the UN. I have worked, especially when I was director in NAFTA, I have worked a lot in UN committee. A lot of laws are made, but they're in the drawer. We make a lot of laws in this country, but they are not enforced. And if they are not enforced, they are not laws now. Because when you talk about law, I think there are three factors when you look at law. You look at the rule, the enforcement, and the authority. If these three elements are not there, there is no law. Am I correct? If there is a law, which kind of law will I give? Bigamy. I'm not a lawyer. Is it enforceable? I don't know whether our child, she's looking at me and laughing. The ladies will laugh more better, but they want to enforce. But it is a law, according to us. But if it is not enforceable, if it is not working, okay. For me, as a local man, as a layman, it's not law. That's my understanding. As far as I'm concerned, it is not possible to have a strong democracy without independent judiciary in Nigeria. How can the bar and the bench, the two key actors, contribute now to the growth of a democratic Nigeria, especially northern Nigeria? I'm not asking you to draft new laws. I'm not giving you a content of draft laws, but I'm going to touch non-legal issues so that you can look. I'm sure we're going to speak, many lawyers, many judges will speak today. Northern Nigeria should be my focus today. Based on the recent statistic of MBS in 2022, the South accounts to 70 to 70% of the Nigerian total GDP. This is disturbing. 70 to 75% of the total GDP, while the North account for only 25 to 30%. It is worse when it comes to attracting foreign direct investment, FDI. The South attract 95%. Can you imagine? 95% compared to the North with only 5%. Why? All these other factors are around. 5% only. And those who are Lagos, they know that Lagos attract only around 41% or 45%. Lagos alone. I'm not saying we should take away from Lagos, but we should have also high numbers so that everywhere can be prosperous and good. It is most scary when you look at the poverty level based on the World Bank data, 2018 to 2019, which said that the poverty rate in is almost 20 times higher in Sokoto. The state with the highest poverty rate of 87.7% compared to Lagos, the state with the lowest poverty rate of 4.5%. I think we should be worried that this differences creates a lot of problems. That's why sometimes you see people in a vehicle traveling to Lagos and they'll say they're armed robbers or Boko Haram. They are not. Last week, I had to speak to my colleagues in immigration because they arrested young people. They said they look like Boko Haram, but they are not Boko Haram. They went to look for manual job, just a manual job. So, because the poverty level is very, very high, people have to be attracted where there's work. The World Bank CMM report said it will take Nigeria's northern state 40 years to develop as much as the southern state at this current rate of growth. 40 years. If northern states continue to grow the way they are growing, it will take 40 years to reach the level of south. This should worry our leaders. This should worry our legal expert. Because look, even the criminal justice system, the more there is poverty, there is going to be crime. You will have more work that is not rewarding. Instead of you to deal with the businesses discussion, you will be busy dealing with theft, murder, etc., etc. I think that's not the issue. You should contribute, especially lawyers in the north, contribute and change the situation so that you will be lawyers of signing agreement. You will be company secretaries. Instead of you depending things that will give you headache more. Let me not scare you more with statistics. Let us get to the solution. Since I have limited time, because others will speak. The North, to me, is like the Almajiri child sitting on a dirty bag of gold. Do you understand the simile I'm saying? Almajiri child, you know how dirty, how hungry, how wretched the Almajiri child. So the North, to me, is a simile of a child, Almajiri child, sitting on a bag of gold. I hope you understand my thinking. And to me, this is an issue to do with illiteracy, poverty, insecurity. These factors are the reasons that make the Almajiri child not to understand he was sitting on the gold. It's illiteracy, poverty, lack access to health, that he will not understand that he's sitting on the gold. Those with scanners of gold and minerals, will chase an Almajiri child and make good use of the gold. Am I speaking parables? Yes. You have somebody sitting on gold, he's poor, wretched. But there is someone who will come with technology, scare the Almajiri child and take the gold. That's what is happening in reality. As a major practitioner of law, what can you do to increase Northern GDP and Nigerian GDP? Through education, skills, investment, employment, productivity, security, building confidence, tax awareness, ease of doing business, harmonize laws, tackle corruption, and improve corporate governance. These are the questions you should ask yourself. What can you do as legal practitioners? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as earlier stated, the North is not poor. I hereby testify, the North is not poor. It is very rich region when it comes to agriculture and natural resources. I may not be able to dwell on all the issues, but I will concentrate on 5 issues the law can address to contribute to economic growth and development, especially in the North. 1, illegal mining. It is visible throughout the African continent, the relationship between mining and insecurity. Look around, scan. There is a relationship between illegal mining and insecurity. Mining may not automatically be the cause of insecurity, but competition for natural resources in places where governance is weak can fuel insecurity. I'm not saying that people go to fight because of the mineral resources, but when governance is weak, government has not taken over resources that is meant for the people. Criminals, elite, local and international, will compete and create insecurity in order to take those resources. Zamfara State is a typical example. Even before the current crisis, the state had ungoverned territories before government was virtually absent. And to the level that people you may not know, but those who speak fluent Hausa, not the young people, know that you can even, so I have nobody from Zamfara is here, so that I will enter into another legal problem, especially if he's the judge or something, but no problem. But it's an issue. When there is no governance and there are resources spread, people will compete to take it. It's either government organize itself and keep it for the people, or people will struggle and take it. That's what is happening in places like Zamfara. What I say is that criminal groups, local and international, found a conducive environment to mine gold in places like Zamfara. NBA-SBL can champion the struggle and push for resources to be mined by state through big companies involving communities. His Royal Highness raised an act which gives community participation. NBA, why can't you pursue these issues with the mineral resources in Zamfara, for example, or in Niger? We must put the community in consideration, because all these criminals, they are doing this because they don't want to pay royalty or anything to communities. It is cheaper to create crisis, to take resources without due process. It's better for them. But if there is agreement on government, there is tax to be paid, there's community loyalty, the community development, things will be so. You can do that. You are great lawyers. Let's say today you decided to make this as a case with government. Look, government, stop this crazy individual license. Let's have big companies to mine these issues. Provide security, let them pay tax, let them pay loyalty to community, remove the criminals. I think Nigeria would be better, the North would be better. Number 2, legal services for communities where mining is taking place. You can do that. Where are the great lawyers who sacrifice humanitarian lawyers? You can fight. Look, we have communities where so-called bandits have sent away, but mining has evolved in the community. The people who are sitting in their villages quietly, shooting, killing, then suddenly mining continue in the community. Where are the lawyers? Put head together and fight for those communities. Make things can happen if we do that. Government will listen to you more. Number 3, financial and corporate laws. I don't want to talk about laws reform, but most of business in northern Nigeria are ruled in a traditional way. if you agree with me, most of the businessmen are managed in a traditional way. The lack of modern corporate governance scare investors, and most of these companies die with the founders. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look around in the north. Great companies, great businessmen, they run their businesses as a traditional institution. They are the only approving people. They are the board. They are the secretary. They do everything. So when they die, the company dies. That doesn't help development. You know, I served in a company as a board member somewhere in the south. And this company has a good corporate governance. Even though the owner is a big man, but he's subject to the board rules. You don't see this a lot in our companies in the north. I think you can do a lot. I hope you have invited a lot of businessmen to join you today in the discussion, so that you can serve as company secretaries. You can give guidance to these businessmen. They run a company as a corporate institution. It's doable. Because if they don't do it, after they die, the company dies. Poverty increases. People will get no job again. The system will die. Many people experience this, many families. I don't want to mention, but if I know in your brain, you know many of them that died because it was not ruled under corporate system. NBA has the duty, especially SBL, has a duty to target these individuals and convince them to operate as a corporate entities with official management system, board, audit system, annual report, etc. Not just the one they write to satisfy CAC. You know? You know very well, you know them. So do deliberate target. Let's say each year you want to target 10 in Kaduna, 10 in Kano. Discuss, make PowerPoint presentation, show them the good of having a good governance. It means a lot to me because many businesses will die after them. You will find out it is only individual dealing with billion each day. Nobody, only him. If he's sick, the company is sick. One person. Number 4, protection of property rights. Most of the houses and farms land in the north have no certificates. You will agree with me. Large-scale agriculture is gradually becoming impossible due to our land system, which also scare investors. NBA can work, especially with PEBEC. I have served in PEBEC, and encouraging states to ensure they give titles to farmers, because it makes a lot of sense. They can use it to take loan. They can have land discussion with investors. But when you have a paper, no titles, you cannot do any big business. Nobody will trust you. Encourage this. Also, my last recommendation, because I know I'm supposed to talk for only 5 minutes or more. I make sure I go away quickly. Look inward. The level of poverty in northern Nigeria is because we have refused to look inward into different sectors of the traditional system. Let me give you an example. I saw what is happening in the Middle East. There is a waqaf. Waqaf is endowment. And this endowment lives forever. Myself and few of our friends, we decided, because people they're talking about crisis, poverty, so we started to start something like that. And many people said, great idea, because look, you have billions. Immediately you die, your children will forget about you. They will go and squander the money. Even NBA-SBL, you should teach people how to manage what they inherited. Because it is squandered. Not only squandered, many people want to do endowment which will outlive them, but there is no system. NBA, take this as a business model. The waqaf is a good foundation I have seen. I have seen a waqaf which is valid today since during the time of Prophet. Since the time, the people are benefiting from it. Since the time of Prophet. So why can't we? It will reduce poverty. Usually in the north we have one big rich man, 1 million poor. One big rich man, 1 billion poor. It's a problem, it's a gap. But if he can invest in waqaf, good hospital, good hotel, and you know waqaf what it is? It's an endowment which the principal money doesn't go away. But the profit is used to keep it running. To me, SBL, take this as a good thinking. I'm not a lawyer, I'm going to not talk too much. Otherwise, I will commit contempt because there are many people looking around. In conclusion, it is important to note that business, especially the business that rely on enforcement, is not enough. We have to find a business a law that enable business to grow. So we should look at how agreement can be enforced, either through legal system or through negotiation. What do you call agreement that are not going to be in court, which is happening in our traditional system, which are not necessary to be on court. Our people are used to that. You can use it, SLB, incorporate it into the system. The traditional system was settling dispute. His Royal Highness, if you ask him how much dispute he has been settling, they are doing it, but you have refused to cooperate this into a system. It's possible. Settling dispute, especially businesses, they are doing it, but it's not recognized law. Find a way to incorporate this to be a legal issue. Reduce risk of transaction cost, which most people are avoiding. Without reliable court and arbitration system, market shrinks and market become informal. Nobody wants to deal with an informal system. Let me finish with the one court, which says countries that treat law as economic tool, not just as a control mechanism, position themselves for sustainable growth. I hope during this your conference, you will be able to place Nigeria, especially northern Nigeria, on a path that will enable business to grow, not looking towards Europe, but looking internet to the people, so that whatever you give will be workable and will be usable. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. We've learned a lot, and the bottom line is that we are all stakeholders in this, and we have to look inward. The change begins with me, the change begins with you. Thank you so much, sir. Very shortly, we'll be going to the second keynote speaker, and I'll have Kemi come and read the profile of our second keynote speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have the keynote speaker ably represented. Is here in representative capacity this morning. And we will not be taking the profile of the keynote speaker, but we'll have my Lord come up and give the second keynote speech. A round of applause for my Lord, please.
Well, it's noon now by my time, so I will say good afternoon, good morning to you all. His Excellency, the representative of the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Honorable Attorney General Kaduna State, the representative of His Excellency, the Governor of Kano State, my Emir, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, the representative of Emir of Kagarku, all protocols duly and adequately observed. I'm here in a representative capacity to deliver the keynote of Honorable Justice Nnamdi Dingba, who is unavoidably absent, and he instructed me to extend his apologies for his inability to be present. He wanted to be here, but unfortunately, due to the constraints of the work, he's not able to make it. And I will read his speech as he sent it to me, because I'm not in a capacity to change the speech of Justice of the Court of Appeal. I am deeply grateful for the privilege of addressing this distinguished gathering as keynote speaker at the second edition of the NBA-SBL Northern Zonal Conference. I commend the foresight and commitment of the NBA-SBL leadership in organizing and confronting the long-standing disparity between commercial law practice in Lagos, Nigerian economic hub, and the other part of the country. The decision to take commercial law conversation beyond traditional centers and deliberately engage practitioners in northern Nigeria is both timely and visionary. It reflects a profound understanding that economic development in a federation cannot be geographically selective. It must be inclusive, deliberate, and sustained. The maiden conference in Kano in year 2023 signaled an important institutional shift. The second edition in Kaduna confirms that the initiative starts this conversation in the north, starting from Kano, was not a symbolic gesture, but the beginning of a movement to democratize access to knowledge, to harmonize professional capacity across regions, and to ensure the practice of commercial law becomes a national instrument of development rather than regional advantage. The theme of this conference, law as a catalyst for economic growth, could not be more befitting. Nigeria stands as a pivotal moment in its economic history. Globally, we are witnessing supply chain reconfiguration, digital transformation, climate transition, rising protectionism, and intense competition for foreign direct investment. Domestically, Nigeria is navigating currency reform, fiscal restructuring, tax reform debate, energy transition, agricultural modernization, and a pressing need for infrastructure financing. In this context, law is no longer a background discipline, but it's also infrastructure and policy translated into enforceable commitments. Thus, the central thesis of this address is that economic growth does not happen in a legal vacuum. It occurs within legal system, and the quality of this system determines the quality of growth. The nature of law as a shaping instrument. Before examining law as a catalyst for economic growth, we must reflect briefly on the nature of law itself. Law performs at least 4 economic functions. 1, law creates order and predictability. Market do not thrive merely on opportunity, but also thrive on certainties. Investors commit capital where rules are stable, rights are enforceable, and expectation can be reliably projected into the future. Every commercial transaction is in truth a wager on enforceability. Law provides the rules that makes this wager rational and not speculative. Predictability is particularly critical in long-term investments such as infrastructure, energy, agriculture, mining, where capital recovery may span decades. Investors must be confident that the environment governing tariff, taxation, land right, and dispute resolution will not shift unpredictably. Like what the earlier speaker said about mining in the Zamfara and other places, and like what His Royal Highness said about energy, where you can use solar and to be energy reliable in the northern Nigeria. Secondly, law allocates risks. Economic activity is fundamental about risks. Law does not eliminate risks. It structures and distributes itself. Contract law allocates performance risks between parties. Corporate law distributes risks among shareholders, directors, and creditors. Tax law allocates fiscal risks between the state and private actors. Insurance law spreads risks across large pools. Insolvency law determines how losses are distributed when business fails. Economic actors are willing to undertake risks when they understand how that risk can be treated in an event of dispute or failure. Nigeria's insolvency reforms under KAMA 2020 illustrate these principles clearly by introducing business rescue mechanisms such as company voluntary arrangement and administration. The law shifted from liquidation-centric framework to rescue-oriented regime. This reduces the fear of catastrophic failure and encourages entrepreneurship. The banking sector provides another example. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria Act 2010, as amended, was enacted in response to the banking crisis following the global financial downturn. By absorbing non-performing loans and stabilizing the banking system, the law redistributed systematic risks and restore financial stability. Third, law reduce transactional cost. Transaction costs include the cost of a negotiating contract, verifying information, resolving dispute, and enforcing rights. High transaction cost encourages economic activity. Efficient legal system reduce this cost. Digitalization of corporate registries in Nigeria through the Corporate Affairs Commission is a powerful example. The move from manual to electronic company registration significantly reduced the time and cost required to start business. Fourth, law signal institutional credibility. In globalized economy, nations compete not only in natural resources and labor cost, but on legal reliability. Investors ask whether the rules in any jurisdiction be respected. Institutional credibility is built through consistent enforcement of contract, respect for judicial independence, and adherence to rule of law. This lies within the wider framework of what is often referred as competitive competitiveness. The meaning of economic growth. Economic growth in the classical sense refers to sustained increases in the productivity capacity of an economy. Yet in Nigeria, the concept must be understood more broadly and contextually. Growth must be inclusive, geographically distributed, investment-driven, productivity enhanced, and institutionally anchored. Nigeria's economic conversation has shifted in recent years from mere growth in quality of growth. The central question are no longer only how fast is the economy growing, but increasingly where the growth happening. Who is participating in it? What institutions sustain it? What is the resilience of shock? Northern Nigeria is central to these questions as the region holds immense agricultural capacity, mineral resources, trade corridors linking West Africa and Northern Africa, renewable energy potentials, and large youthful population. Thus, the full mobilization of these resources requires legal infrastructure capable of supporting credit, land tenure, security, agricultural financing, public-private partnership, dispute resolution, and cross-border trade. Economic growth, therefore, can be separated from institutional trust. Investors do not merely invest in GDP figures, but also a legal system. Economic growth is ultimately a story of confidence. Confidence in contract, confidence in courts, confidence in regulatory stability, confidence in taxation, confidence in dispute resolution. Law as a catalyst for economic growth in Nigeria. To interrogate the relationship between law and economic growth in any serious way, we must move beyond the convenient assumption that law merely reacts to economic activity. In reality, law often precedes, structure, and directs it. Markets do not simply emerge and then become regulated. Rather, markets are legally constituted spaces. Property, contract, corporate personality, taxation, insolvency, banking, security, arbitration, and competition are not natural phenomena. They are legal creation. As is often said, without law, there is exchange. With law, there is market. Law therefore operates simultaneously as architecture, incentives, constraints, and signal. It is architecture because it provides the institutional framework within which economic actors operate. It is an incentive because it rewards certain forms of behavior and discourages others. It is also constrained because it defines the limit of permissible conduct, and it is signaled because it communicates to the investors, both domestic and foreign, the seriousness of a nation's commitment to commercial certainties and institutional reliability. For developing economies such as Nigeria, the signaling functions of law becomes particularly significant, given that capital is globally mobilized. Thus, the investors compare jurisdictions and evaluate risks not only in terms of politics or microeconomics, but also in terms of enforceability, predictability, and institutional credibility. A signal piece of legislation or judicial decision can therefore recalibrate perceptions of risks across entire sector. As a jurist, it is my understanding that courts are not merely dispute resolution bodies. They are economic institutions whose pronunciations shape commercial behavior long before dispute arise. When courts demonstrate commercial realism, enforce contractual obligations, and discourage procedural optimism, the lower transaction costs and investments stimulate investment. To understand how law drives economic growth in Nigeria, we must turn to jurisprudence of our courts. Judicial decisions are among the most powerful economic signal in a country can send. I will examine 4 significant Nigerian decisions and explore their broader economic implication. Through these case studies, we will observe in action as an active catalyst in economic life of a nation. My Lord went further to refer to the case of Sakumari Construction, Nigeria against Lagos State Water Corporation, citation provided. The dispute arose from a public infrastructure contract executed in 1994 for the expansion of Lagos water supply. The contractor completed the project, submitted its invoices, and debtors repeatedly acknowledged indebtedness. Yet payment remains outstanding for years. When the contractors instituted an action for summary judgment, the debtor attempted to invoke an arbitration clause to halt proceedings and delay judgment. The central issue before the Supreme Court was whether an admitted debt could be referred to an arbitration under Section 5 of the Arbitration and Reconciliation Act. The court held unequivocally that there is no dispute within the meaning of an agreement to refer dispute where there is no controversy in being, as when a party admits liability but simply fails to pay. The court of law and tribunals should only give effect to an arbitration clause where the dispute is unequivocally within the ambit and the contemplation of the clause in question. The decision is economically transformative, considering that public infrastructure in Nigeria depends heavily on private contractors. When government delay payments, contractors price that risks into future projects. The result is inflated project costs, reduced participation, and slower infrastructure delivery. In infrastructure economy, delay in payment functions as hidden taxes on contractors. When public entities delay payment, it effectively transfers financial costs to private contractors without compensation. This produced 3 major economic distortions. First, contractors increase bid prices to hedge against payment risks. This inflates the cost of public infrastructure and reduces the number of viable projects that government can undertake within physical constraints. Second, credible contractors exit the market or avoid public sector projects together. This reduces competition and lower quality outcome in infrastructure delivery. Third, delay in payment undermines the creditworthiness of contractors who must rely on expensive short-term finances to bridge cash flow gaps. The Supreme Court intervention, therefore, performs an important market correction function by refusing to allow arbitration clauses to be used in delay mechanism where no genuine dispute exists. The court reduced the scope for strategic non-payment behavior. In effect, the decision strengthened sovereign credibility in contract enforcement, which is essential for public-private partnership infrastructure bonds and construction financing models. My Lord went further to cite the case of Attorney General of Lagos State against Eco Hotel Limited, citation also provided. The dispute emerged from a recurring structural tension within Nigerian fiscal federalism architecture, with regards to the allocation of taxing powers between federal government and the states. The first respondent, a major hospitality operator, found himself caught between 2 competitive tax authorities. Having collected value-added tax from its customers pursuant to the Value-Added Tax Act, it was confronted with a demand from a Lagos state government to remit sales tax under Lagos state sales tax law. Faced with conflicting obligation and the risk to double liability, the company approached the Federal High Court through interpleader proceedings, seeking judicial direction on the proper authority entitled to receive the tax. The legal issue that ultimately reached the Supreme Court was profound in its implication, whether the simultaneous imposition of VAT and Lagos state sales tax on the same goods and services constitute impermissible double taxation. According to the Supreme Court, per Kekere Ekun, JSC, she stated that the Value Added Tax Act has covered the field in the subject of state sales tax and therefore prevails over Lagos state sales tax order. There is no doubt in my mind that it would amount to double taxation for the same tax to be levied on the same goods and services payable by the same consumer under two different legislations. To fully appreciate the economic significance of this decision, we must move beyond doctrinal language of covering the field and confront the practical realities of taxation and investment behavior. Investors evaluate tax risks in three dimensions: predictability of tax rules, stability of tax obligations, and clarity of tax authority. Uncertainties in any of these areas raises the cost of capital. Where tax obligations are unclear or subject to overlapping claims, investors respond rationally by increasing risk premium, restructuring transactions to avoid exposure, or choosing alternative jurisdictions. Double taxation represents one of the most powerful deterrents in investment because it undermines the ability of the businesses to forecast returns. My lord went further to cite the case of PS Offshore Nigeria Limited and against Maiden System Nigeria Limited. It is an unreported case. It's a case of Federal High Court. I don't think the case went on appeal. Federal Court Lagos Division. This dispute arose from the charter party agreement within the maritime sector, which is characterized by its transactional nature and resilience on contractual certainties in the allocation of risks and dispute resolution mechanism. The claimant sought enforcement of a foreign arbitral award in Nigeria, which the respondent challenged enforcement on the basis that arbitration clause underpinning the award was void under Section 20 of the Admiralty Jurisdiction Act 1991, on the ground that it purported to restrict the jurisdiction of Nigerian courts in admiralty matters within the Nigerian nexus. The respondent's position was that any agreement which purports to remove admiralty disputes connected to Nigeria from the jurisdiction of Nigerian courts is rendered void by statutes, and that an arbitral award derived from such agreement cannot be enforced within the Nigerian jurisdiction. The Federal High Court upheld the objections and refused to enforce the enforcement of the foreign arbitral award. The court held that Section 20 of the Admiralty Jurisdiction Act renders void agreements that seek to exclude the jurisdiction of Nigerian courts in admiralty matters with a Nigerian connection, and that such statutory invalidity extended to the arbitration clause relied upon. The decision raises broader questions regarding the interaction between domestic jurisdictional status and the enforcement of foreign arbitral award in cross-border commercial transactions. In maritime commerce, dispute resolution framework are ordinarily integrated into broader contractual arrangement that facilitate predictability in risk allocation, insurance, structuring, and financing. From a commercial perspective, the decision illustrates the sensitivity of cross-border maritime contracts to jurisdictional and enforcement framework, where uncertainties exist as to the enforceability of arbitration clauses in a given jurisdiction. Commercial actors may adjust contractual structures, including choices of forum and governing law provisions, in order to manage perceived enforcement risks. Such adjustment may have consequential effect on transactional costs, insurance policy, insurance pricing, and financing coordination associated with maritime operations linked to jurisdiction. The broader analytical lesson from this case lies in the relationship between jurisdictional sovereignty and commercial predictability. It highlights how statutory interpretation in the context of enforcement of arbitral agreement may influence international commercial actors, assesses legal risks within a jurisdiction, particularly in sectors that depends heavily on enforcement across border dispute resolution. My Lord concluded his paper by stating that across these decisions, a consistent jurisprudential theme which emerges is the Nigerian legal system is gradually repositioning itself in economic facilitators, where certainty, enforceability, and commercial realism operate as a core judicial value. The deeper question, therefore, is not whether law regulates economic activity, but whether law in Nigeria is evolving sufficiently to function as a deliberate catalyst for economic growth rather than an incidental constraint upon it. Law is the silent architecture of economic growth. When it functions well, market flourish. When it fails, development stalls. The task before us is therefore collective. Legislators must recognize that economic growth is now heavily dependent on legal modernization. Statutes governing commerce, taxation, arbitration, insolvency, and investment must be continually reviewed, not only for legal coherence, but for economic competitiveness in a globalized capital market. The judiciary must continue to deepen its engagement with commercial realities. Judicial interpretation is no longer a purely doctrinal exercise, but an economic action, an economic act that direct consequence for capital formation, investors' confidence, and market stability. Commercial awareness in adjudication is therefore not optional, it's foundational. Members of the legal profession must move beyond technical advocacy to strategic legal engineering. Lawyers are not merely legislators or advisors. They are architects of transactional certainties. The quality of legal drafting, negotiation, dispute structuring directly influences the cost of capital in the economy. Policymakers and regulators must ensure coherence, coordination, and predictability across regulatory framework. Fragmentation of regulatory authority, inconsistent enforcement practices, and overlapping mandates create hidden costs that are ultimately borne by businesses, consumers, and the broader economy. Let this conference therefore affirm a shared commitment to a building legal system that is not reactive to economic changes, but actively generative of it. A system that supports enterprise, attract investment, promote fairness, and unlock the vast and unevenly distributed economic potentials of every region of our country. Thank you all. Enamdi Dimbankanu, JCN. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. I will now call on Madam Fati to give the vote of thanks. Okay. We're going to have presentation of the plaque, then we'll have photo and the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, and I stand on existing protocol. I'd like to say thank you very much to all our special guests and the Royal Father of the Day. Please pardon all our little errors that we're having. We just want to quickly rush because we know it's time for prayers, and we'll rush and finish immediately. We would have to give out the remaining plaques, and I believe that we have not yet given our keynote speakers, their plaques. Do we have it there? Is it ready? Can we have the plaques for the keynote speaker? Fatima? Is it here? Wada? Is it here? The plaques for the keynote speakers? We need to be really fast because it's almost time for prayers. And I would just like to say thank you very much for the brilliant keynote speech by the retired CGI. It was really, really insightful and very, very practical. And I was just telling the chair SBL that we need to have a master class on succession planning and a master class on corporate governance for the northern lawyers, so that we'll be able to advise the individual businessmen you advised us to do. I also like to thank Justice Dimba. I was just sending him a message saying, we're in a class right now. And he says, just listen to the end. And he is right. He says we need to innovate and go beyond advocacy to arbitration. And I think that is really, really insightful and timeful. So I just want to quickly call on the retired CGI, Mohammed Babandede OFR, to receive his plaque. Yeah. Can you please come up, sir, so that we can have it in the middle here? Yes. And our chair, Madam Uzufu, please come up. Mother, Fatima, please come up quickly. Can we have it there so that the pictures will be really nice? Yes. Thank you very much. Can we have it in the middle there so the pictures will be really nice? Thank you very much. Can we have the representative of Justice Dingba please just be, so that you can help us receive. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Can we have the representative of Justice Dingba, please? Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. And is that all we have? Okay, for the Kano State government, please can we have the AG? Thank you. Thank you. We're so sorry, sir. We'll soon finish. Thank you. Can we have the AG Kaduna to get ready to receive for the governor and himself, please? Thank you very much. Quickly, please, to the governor of Kaduna. AG Kaduna, sir. Thank you. Oh, they've given him. Oh, sorry, sir. So sorry, they've given you. So please, sir, I would like to crave the indulgence and ask the permission of our dear royal father, if it's okay for us to have one group picture right here. Thank you very much, sir. And so with this, there is a protocol usually. So we have the royal fathers, and then we would have our keynotes, and we'll have the CJs and the Grand Cadi. And so we just have one nice long row because we don't want to stress our royal father, please. Thank you very much. As for the SBL, we have the SBL chair, we have the CPC, we have the Northern Zonal chair, and of course, the council member. Thank you. No, they'll stay down, so we will just stay down. Thank you, sir. So can we have, yes, can we have our keynotes, our AGs? Justice Dimba. Yes. They're all coming. Please, can you bring them up? Yes. Okay, do you want to take one? Okay, let's just have it. Now, Fatima. And then we'll have Denon, Vice Chair CPC. Please quickly come up to the stage. Oh, Oh, yes, please, please. Representing the Court of Appeal, our special guest, Justice Ganu. Oh, we're so sorry. We missed the person representing the presiding judge of Kaduna. No. How can we have you here, please? Okay, let's just take one of these and then we'll continue. Thank you very much, sir. Is that okay? Yes, sir. And I think I'll pass it on to them. Oh, we have a vote of thanks and by the chair.
Okay. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Kindly permit me to stand on all existing protocol. On behalf of the Conference Planning Committee, I extend our sincere appreciation to everyone who has contributed to the success of this opening ceremony. We are deeply grateful to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Attorney General of Kaduna State, Dr. James A. Kangip, for the inspiring opening address and for formally declaring this conference open. We respectfully acknowledge our revered traditional leaders, the Emir of Zazzau and the Chief of Kagoro, for honoring us with your presence and continued leadership within our communities. We also appreciate the presence of our honorable judges, attorneys general, commissioners, and the representative of the Kaduna and Kano state governments. Your participation highlights the vital connection between law, governance, and economic growth. Our thanks go to the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, the Chairman of the NBA section on business law, our keynote speakers, former CGI Muhammad Babandede, OFR, and Honorable Justice Nnamdi Dingba, ably represented, he and all who delivered goodwill messages for their insightful contributions. We wish to specially recognize our headline sponsors, the Kaduna State Government and the Kano State Government. Your support has been instrumental to the success of this conference, and we are truly, truly grateful. To our sponsors, partners, speakers, and panelists, we thank you for your commitment. We look forward to the rich engagements ahead across key sectors. To the Conference Planning Committee, Local Organizing Committee, and the entire planning team, thank you for your dedication and hard work. And to all our distinguished participants, thank you for being here and for being part of this important conversation. We wish you all a productive and impactful conference. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, indefatigable chairperson. It's truly an honor to work with you. And of course, on this note, the opening ceremony is now concluded. However, if you can perceive that there's something really nice smelling in the air. And you know, NBA-SBL standard, we always have fantastic sessions and also fantastic meals. So please, we will go right into the panel session, but we will take 15 minutes break to enable us to pray and to have lunch. Tea break is being served just right behind you. So if you turn around, or if you follow where the aroma is coming from, that's where the tea break will happen. Please, we'll return in exactly 15 minutes. We'll return. We already have our speakers here. I've seen Aja Aisha Ado Abdullahi. I've seen Mr. Dafe Apede. I've seen a number of our speakers in the room. So our speakers are here. We're ready for you. But we also understand that we need to go and pray and come back. So we'll be back here in exactly 15 minutes. The panel stage is set already. And please ensure you return in exactly 15 minutes, please.
Please, we'll come and usher all our special guests to the VIP room for the tea break. And then every other person, we have a really special setting at the back for the tea break. Thank you. Ahmed Wada. Wada, please, you need to usher our special guest to the VIP room. Yes, thank you.
All right, for those of us that will be having a tea break, just right. For those of us that will be having a tea break right at the back of the hall, please, there are chairs and tables set there. Feel free to enjoy the meal. The divider between where this event is taking place and where the tea break will happen
Check 1 2. All right. Check 1 2. 2. Check 2. 2. Check 1 2. All right. Yeah. 2 2. Check 1 2. 2. Check 1 2. 2. Check 2. Yeah, the yes myself and the two right. Two. All right. 2. Check 1 2. Yeah, beat one. 2. All right. Next. All right. 2. All right.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's 1 p.m. on the dot, and we are NBA-SBL, we're big on time. So we'd like us to begin to come back to our seat. If you still have the cup of tea or cup of coffee in your hand, you can come into the hall with it, please. Please would like us to begin to come back into the hall so that we can start the session right away. please would urge the delegates to come back into the hall as we are kickstarting the first panel session. And the first panel session promises to be very enlightening, educative, and indeed very exceptional.
Can we please come in, and can we have the session manager on stage? Safia Muhammad, she's the session manager. This second session promises to be very, very interesting. Commerce and trade, building seamless trade corridors, opportunities under the framework for free trade zones and the African Continental Free Trade Area. So please, can we come in and take our seats? If you have your tea in your hands, can you kindly come in and sit down? Let's have a walking tea break. Our special guests, please, can you come and take your seats? For those behind, please, can you come in? Can you come in? Okay, we're still expecting everyone to be seated. Please, can you come back into the hall?
Please, if you're done having your lunch, your breakfast, or the tea break as it is, kindly come back into the auditorium because we're kickstarting the next session right away. We recognize the presence of the NBA chairman, Kano branch, Mr. Yuyu Ferry. You're welcome, sir. I'm aware that the NBA branch chairman of Maiduguri branch is also in the room. You're welcome. As we await the arrival of the session manager of this very exceptional session, I'll please encourage us to come into the room and take our seats. Please, let's come into the room. We have two sessions and a dinner event for today. And I hope that we've seen the dinner event flyer. It's supposed to come glammed up traditionally. I believe all registered delegates got the email. Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point we will proceed and kickstart the first panel session. And to take us on this first panel session ride, we'll have Sefia Mohammed, who is the session manager for this first session, to take over from this point. I have been asked to remind us again that we should come glammed up, beautifully representing the tribes in our nation. So please, we'll run the session back to back. Immediately we finish the first session, we'll kickstart the second session immediately. Then after that, we'll have the lunch, take our break, and come back for the dinner event. And I want you over to the very able session manager, Sefia Mohammed. A round of applause for Sefia, please.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our able MC. Welcome back from break. Thank you for joining us again. Please, can we all come back to the conference center? Can we all have our delegates back in the hall so that we can proceed with today's session? Conference Planning Committee members, please, I need you to get all the delegates back to the hall so that we proceed with the session. We're running behind schedule. Okay. Okay. CPC members, please, can we get all the delegates back into the hall? And I understand that we have representatives of esteemed institutions here. We have the NBA Kaduna represented here, NBA Barnawa, NBA Zaria. We also have the Nigerian Bar Association Women Forum. We have the FIDA. Please, if you're here, kindly step forward. You can come into the hall with your tea, have your tea here, while we proceed to the session. The first session is going to be on trade and commerce, and I know that we wouldn't want to miss out, so I would encourage us all to please drag our friends away from the tea area so we can get the most of this session. Please, can I have Temi Tokwe, Halima, Zino? Please, I need you to call up the delegates from the tea area so that we can get started. There are some guests in the VIP session. Please, can you bring them in? All CPC members, please bring in the guests at the tea session so that we can proceed with this session. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all. We will start with the session. The first session for this conference is titled Building Seamless Trade Corridors. Opportunities under the framework for free trade zones and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And we'll be having a stellar panel to discuss this very important topic with us. The moderator for this session is here. Please let's make him welcome. The moderator for this session is Zachary Enesi Abbas. We have a stellar panel, and the first of all is Alhaji Sani Katu, who unfortunately is not able to be here, but is ably represented by Barrister Abdullahi Alfa Muhammad. You're welcome. We have Madam Aisha Ado Abdullahi, who is the Vice President, Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Please let's make welcome Mr. Ben Piva, Head of Tax and Expenditure, Nigeria Revenue Service. You're welcome. Please let's make welcome the last but not the least speaker, our own Dr. Umar Sani Bebeji, the Assistant Dean of Faculty of Law, ABU Zaria. He's here in triple capacity. You're welcome, sir. We will now proceed into the section properly, and I'll be handing over the mic to the moderator, Zachary Enesi Abbas of Zedi Abbas & Co. Lokoja, who is going to moderate this session. Thank you, and please pay attention because this promises to be a very, very educative session. Mr. Zachary.
Good afternoon, my noble lords, learned Sikh present, our noble colleague, members of audience from other institutions here present with us. My name is Zachary Enesi Abbas. I'll be the moderator for this session. In commencing this session today, we have been directed to look at a topic that has been so important to our society today, talking about building seamless trade corridors, opportunities under the framework for free trade zone and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. My distinguished speakers with me today shall be touching on specific area that cuts across this very topic. I'll have Aisha Ado Abdullahi, who will be speaking on investment in Nigeria. Then I'll have my dear friend Abdullahi, who is to my immediate left. He will be addressing us on understanding cross-border trade under the AFCTA. I have Dr. Bebeji, who will be looking at the legal and regulatory framework in the free trade zone. And lastly, my dear speaker, Bimpiva, will be giving us understanding the shift in tax incentives and obligation as it relates to free trade zone. My speakers shall be doing justice to this topic by providing answers to questions which I will be asking them individually. So the permission and the authority handed over to me, may I commence with the first speaker, who is Aisha Do Abdullahi, who shall be giving us the overview of the trade and commerce in northern Nigeria.
Thank you very much, distinguished moderator. Distinguished chair of SBL, I think the Attorney General Kaduna State is here. Learned seniors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. The tone by of trade and commerce in the north of Nigeria. So here it goes. Northern Nigeria has for centuries as a vibrant hub of commerce, apparent trade routes that connected markets across West and Northern Africa. Today, the legacy endures, but in a more complex and rapidly evolving economic landscape. The region remains strategically positioned, sharing borders with Niger, Chad, and Cameroon, and serving as Nigeria's natural gateway to the Sahel and beyond. Trade and commerce in northern Nigeria are driven by a mix of formal and informal sectors or systems. From agricultural commodities such as grains, livestock, and cotton, to emerging sectors like solid minerals and light manufacturing. The region offers significant comparative advantages. However, inefficiencies in infrastructure, logistics, regulatory coordination, and security, just as highlighted earlier by our keynote speaker, continue to constrain the full realization of its trade potential. This is precisely where frameworks such as the African Continental Free Trade Area and Nigeria's free trade zones become critical. They present an opportunity to formalize and scale existing trade flows and, most importantly, reposition northern Nigeria as a competitive corridor for intra-African trade and commerce. By reducing tariff and non-tariff barriers, harmonizing standards, and facilitating the movement of goods and services, these frameworks can unlock new value chains and deepen regional integration. Nigeria, particularly northern Nigeria, offers robust, legally land availability, emerging infrastructure, and special zones. But the key gap remains awareness and accessibility. I will still repeat that the keynote speaker earlier stated that we have a lot of frameworks, laws, policies, but a lot of we have seen from experience that our people are not even aware of them, not to talk of benefit from them, and we are going to discuss it as we progress in this session. Frameworks alone are not enough, obviously. The real task before us is implementation. Of course, it was stated earlier as well. In fact, the keynote speaker earlier did most of what we are supposed to do, and we thank him for that. The real task before us is implementation, how we can translate policy into practical, seamless trade corridors that work for businesses, especially SMEs, small and medium-scale enterprises, and cross-border traders who form the backbone of northern economy. As members of the Nigerian Bar Association section on business law, our role is pivotal. We must interrogate the legal, regulatory, and institutional frameworks that govern trade, advocate for reforms where necessary, and ensure that the rule of law supports rather than stifles commercial growth. This session, therefore, is about opportunities and responsibilities. The responsibility to shape a trade ecosystem that is efficient, inclusive, globally competitive. I look forward to rich insights and practical solutions that will emerge from this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To my dear Abdullahi Alpha Mohammed, please can you help us talk to our dear listeners? What is the key purpose and objective of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement? The key purpose and objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Thank you very much. I wish to say that okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I wish to lean on the existing protocols already established, and for record purposes, I